My husband told the world I was the problem. He said I was difficult, unstable, impossible to love. People believed him because that's what narcissists do best. But the truth has a way of surviving. And when it finally came out, it ruined him in ways he never imagined. I didn't know I was married to a storyteller until I realized I had become a character in his version of events. My husband Aaron never raised his voice when he spoke about me. That was part of what made him believable. He spoke slowly, thoughtfully, like a man carrying a heavy burden he never asked for. He sighed often. He paused like he was choosing his words carefully, as if protecting my dignity, even while tearing me apart. "She's not a bad person," he would say. "She just doesn't know how to be a wife." At first I didn't hear these things directly. They came to me in pieces, offhand comments, strange looks, unsolicited advice. "You know, marriage is about compromise," someone told me once gently, as if I were a child. "Aaron tries so hard," another said. "He really loves you." I remember smiling and nodding, confused. I thought maybe I had missed something. Maybe I was difficult. Maybe I was failing in ways I couldn't see. That's how it starts, quietly, invisibly. At home, Aaron criticized everything, but never all at once. That would have been obvious. Instead, it came in small, precise cuts. The way I cooked. The way I dressed. The way I spoke to people. The way I reacted when he joked. If you were more confident, you wouldn't take things so personally. If you were more supportive, I wouldn't feel so alone. If you were happier, people wouldn't feel uncomfortable around you. He said these things calmly, kindly, even like feedback, like help. And I absorbed it. But outside the house, he transformed. He became the tired husband married to an emotionally exhausting woman, the man who had tried everything, the man who stayed loyal despite the strain. "She gets overwhelmed easily," he'd say. "She reads too much into things. I just want peace." Peace, that was his favorite word. What he meant was obedience. If I defended myself, I was proving his point. If I cried, I was unstable. If I stayed quiet, I was cold and manipulative. There was no version of me that didn't fit his narrative. Slowly, people stopped coming to me with questions. They went straight to him. He became the translator of my personality, the authority on my intentions. "She didn't mean it like that," he'd explain. "She's just sensitive. She's been under stress lately." He made himself sound patient, protective. I began to feel like I was watching my own reputation dissolve in real time, and I didn't know how to stop it. At home, arguments followed a familiar script. He would provoke, subtly at first. A comment about how another woman handled things better. A reminder of how much he sacrificed marrying me. A casual mention of how people worried about him. If I reacted, he leaned back. "There it is," he'd say softly. "This is what I mean." If I tried to explain myself, he interrupted. "You're doing it again. Twisting things. Making yourself the victim." I remember one night sitting on the bathroom floor, staring at my reflection, asking myself a terrifying question. What if he's right? That doubt was his greatest weapon. Aaron began documenting things, or at least pretending to. He left his phone face up during arguments. He typed notes while I spoke. "I just want clarity," he said. "You forget things when you're emotional." Suddenly, every conversation felt like a trap. Every word felt permanent. I started choosing silence over self-defense. And that somehow became another crime. "She shuts me out," he told people. "She refuses to communicate. I feel invisible in my own marriage." Invisible. I was doing all the emotional labor, all the adjusting, all the shrinking, yet he was the one who felt unseen. That's when the isolation deepened. Friends stopped calling. Family conversations felt strained. I could feel opinions hardening, quietly, politely, decisively. Aaron never told outright lies. He didn't have to. He curated. He edited. He framed. And because he sounded calm, he sounded truthful. At home, his patience disappeared. Behind closed doors, he mocked me. You really don't see how you are, do you? No wonder people feel sorry for me. If you were smarter, you'd realize how lucky you are. Then when I withdrew, he complained about my distance. He needed me unstable but not silent, broken but still useful. The turning point didn't come with a scream or a fight. It came with laughter. One evening I walked past his office and heard him on the phone. He didn't know I was home. His voice was different, lighter, amused. She apologizes every time, he said, chuckling. I don't even have to try anymore. I stopped breathing. She thinks she's standing up for herself, but it just makes her look crazy. Then he said the sentence that changed everything. As long as people feel sorry for me, she'll never be believed. I didn't confront him. I didn't cry. I listened. And for the first time, I understood exactly who I was married to. After that night, I started seeing patterns everywhere. Once you recognize narcissism, you can't unsee it. Every conversation felt rehearsed. Every reaction felt strategic. Even his kindness had an agenda. Aaron sensed the shift immediately. He didn't know what I knew, but he knew I knew something. The compliments started first. You've been calmer lately, he said one morning. I like this version of you. That sentence told me everything. There had never been different versions of me, only different levels of tolerance for his behavior. When compliments didn't restore control, concern replaced them. You've been distant, he told others. I'm worried about her mental health. Suddenly, people were checking in on me, not to listen but to assess. Are you okay? They'd ask carefully. Aaron is just really concerned. Concern is a powerful disguise. It makes accusations sound like care. At home, he became generous in public ways. He posted about me online, bought gifts in front of others, spoke about how much he supported me. Privately, the contempt deepened. You see how easy this is, he said once after a dinner with friends. They love me. I realized something chilling then. Aaron didn't just need to be seen as the victim. He needed an audience. The more detached I became, the more reckless he grew. He started provoking me in subtler, crueler ways, withholding information, forgetting important dates, rewriting conversations that had happened hours earlier. You agreed to this. No, I didn't. You're doing it again, he'd say calmly, denying reality. Gaslighting isn't loud, it's repetitive, it's confident. It makes you question your memory, your judgment, your sanity. And he knew exactly when to stop, always just before he crossed a line that others could see. One evening, he suggested therapy. I almost laughed. Not because it was a bad idea, but because I knew what it was. A stage. Therapy gave him a professional witness, someone he could charm, someone he could manipulate with vulnerability and tears. In the sessions, he spoke beautifully. About how hard he tried. About how deeply he loved me. About how confused he felt by my withdrawal. I barely spoke. The therapist encouraged me to open up. Aaron looked at me gently. See, he said later, even she sees it. I realized then that silence wasn't protection anymore. It was ammunition, just not mine. Aaron began telling people he was afraid of me. Not physically, emotionally. She has these moods, he whispered. I never know what version of her I'll come home to. The irony almost broke me. He started hinting at separation, never directly, always through concern. I don't want to leave her when she's like this, he told people. But I don't know how much more I can take. He wanted to look noble, tragic, forced into an impossible decision. I watched as he positioned himself for his grand exit, the wounded man who endured more than anyone could reasonably expect. And then he made a mistake. Narcissists always do when they think they've won. Aaron decided to preemptively destroy my credibility. He told people I was unstable, that I was paranoid, that I was secretly recording him, that I was obsessed with proving something. When I found out, I almost stopped documenting. Almost. Instead, I became meticulous. I recorded patterns, not moments. Contradictions, timelines, differences between who he was alone and who he was observed. I documented how his voice changed depending on who was present, how calm he became when others were around, how volatile he grew in private. The final escalation came when he announced he was taking space. Not quietly, publicly. He told friends and family that he was stepping back for his mental health, that he had given everything, that he hoped I would get the help I needed. People praised his courage. No one asked me what I wanted. During this time, he baited me constantly, sending mixed messages, showing up unannounced, asking for reassurance, then accusing me of manipulation when I gave it. He needed me reactive. He needed proof. When I didn't give it, he panicked. One night, he lost control. He accused me openly of emotional abuse. The word hung in the air like smoke. "I've endured years of this," he said, loud enough for others to hear. "I've just been too ashamed to say anything." That was the moment I knew. He wasn't leaving. He was setting the stage for a public execution. And he expected me to defend myself. I didn't. I let him talk. I let him perform. I let him stack lie upon lie, confident that his version of events was unchallenged. What Aaron didn't know was that narcissists rely on one fatal assumption: that silence means weakness. In reality, silence is only dangerous to those who don't control the truth. And by then, I did. Aaron chose the setting carefully. That was his mistake. He asked for a mediation meeting, not a private one, but one with witnesses, friends, family, a neutral facilitator, people whose opinions mattered, people who already believed his story. He framed it as closure. "I just want peace," he said. "I want everyone to understand why this has to end." He thought he was delivering the final act of a tragedy where he was the hero. I walked into that room calm. Not because I wasn't terrified, but because fear no longer controlled me. Understanding did. Aaron spoke first, of course. He always did. He talked about exhaustion, about walking on eggshells, about emotional abuse so subtle it was hard to explain. He praised my intelligence, my potential, how much he wished things were different. He cried. Real tears or close enough. He described me as unpredictable, volatile, detached. He said he had begged for connection, for safety, for understanding. The room nodded with him. Then it was my turn. I didn't look at him. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I asked one question. Would you like me to speak, or would you prefer I let you speak for me again? The facilitator hesitated. Aaron smiled gently. Go ahead, he said. I want you to feel heard. I started with something small. I played an audio clip. His voice calm, laughing. She apologizes every time, he said. I don't even have to try anymore. A shift rippled through the room. Aaron frowned, not angry, not defensive, confused. I played another. As long as people feel sorry for me, she'll never be believed. This time, someone inhaled sharply. Aaron leaned forward. Context matters, he said quickly. You're twisting. I raised my hand and kept playing. Recordings of him provoking. Recordings of him mocking my reactions. Recordings of him admitting strategy. Not one or two. Patterns. Timelines. Consistency. The facilitator stopped taking notes. No one interrupted anymore. Aaron's face changed, not into rage but into calculation. He was searching for a way out, a pivot, a new narrative. Then I did something he never expected. I stopped the audio. And I said nothing. Silence is unbearable to narcissists. It leaves no angle, no leverage, no mirror. Aaron filled it. He laughed nervously. So this is what this is about, he said. Secret recordings, this proves my point. But his voice wasn't steady anymore. He talked faster, louder. He contradicted himself. He accused me, then corrected himself. He minimized, then exaggerated. He tried to regain control and lost it in front of everyone. That was the moment. Not the recordings. Not the evidence. The crack. Narcissists don't collapse when exposed. They collapse when forced to improvise without control. Someone asked him a question. Then another. And another. His answers didn't align. His calm disappeared. His victimhood slipped. By the end of the meeting, no one said, "I'm sorry" to me. They didn't need to. They were too busy reassessing him. Aaron left early. He said he felt attacked. That was the last time he ever tried to tell our story publicly. In the months that followed, something strange happened. People stopped calling him. Invitations dried up. Conversations became short, polite, distant. Not because they hated him, but because they saw him. And narcissists can survive many things. But not that. He tried to reframe it all later, told new people new versions. Claimed I had manipulated the situation, that I had turned everyone against him. But stories lose power when they change too often. As for me, I didn't tell my side anymore. I didn't need to. The truth didn't make me louder. It made me lighter. The real ending wasn't public. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. I moved on. And the last thing Aaron ever said to me, the thing he thought would hurt, was this: "No one will ever understand what I went through with you." I smiled. Because for the first time, he was right. And it didn't matter anymore. For more interesting stories, please subscribe, like, share and turn on the notification bell so you get notified each time I upload new story.